are officially, what, can I erase this? Okay, we're going to talk about factoring out the greatest common factor. We did this last year. I know you guys remember it, but you may be a little rusty on it, okay? So we're going to start really simple. We're going to just do a bunch of problems. And I want each one of these in your notes so that you can refer to them. Always take your notes home when you're doing the homework, because if you have a question, you just have to look at your notes. And everything that's on here will be explained in your notes, right? So be sure to take those home. All right, so let's say I had 2x plus 10. And I asked you to factor out the greatest common factor. In other words, turn it into what looks like distributive property, right? So what is common? What is a common factor of 2 and 10? 2. Right. So let's.
12.
And then what about x's? Could I take out an x out of this one?
No, you can't.
I can't, because that doesn't have an x, right? So I can only take out a 2. 2 is my greatest common factor. Is that clear? That is the only factor that's common between these two terms. These are called terms. All right, so I put parenthesis, and then what's going to be in here? X. What's going to be plus? What's going to be here? 5. All right, how did you get that? You said 2x divided by 2 is equal to x, right? Plus 10 divided by 2 equals 5. Okay? Some people prefer to do the times going backwards. Say 2 times what is equal to 2x. 2 times x. Plus 2 times what equals 10. 2 times 5. Either way, whichever way works for you. Alright? So that's a piece of cake. That was so easy, right? Alright. So how about 8x plus let me see, 30. What if I said 8x plus 30? So now my question is, what is my greatest common factor between 8 and 30? 2. Yes, Amy. 4 goes into 8. Does 4 go into 30?
No, wait, no, it doesn't.
4 times 8 is 32, so that would... So what is it, 2? Let's try it. So, 2 parenthesis, what would I put here? 2 times what is 8? 4. So I'm going to have 4x plus 2 times what is 30? 15. Now, before I say I'm done, I'm going to quickly just look at these two numbers. Are there any other factors that I didn't take out? No, there's nothing else that goes into both 2, 4, and 15 other than 1. And that doesn't change anything. So do you see how this is the distributive property? This is written in factored form. Then when you distribute it, it's this. So if you ever doing a problem like this on a test, and you wonder, and you say to yourself, geez, I hope I did a good job. I hope I got that problem right. You don't have to hope. Just multiply that again. 2 times 4x is 8x. Plus 2 times 15 is 30. I got it right. I don't care what Gary says. I got it right. Right? So you know you got it right. So you can say to mom and dad, Mom, I know I got a D, but I really got it right. Gary's wrong. Because I just did my distributing. All right, so how about this one?
Mom, I know I got a D.
16x minus 48. What would you do there? What is my greatest common factor there?
8.
Okay, let's try 8. All right, let's try 8. So we got 8. Parenthesis. 8 times what is 16x? 2. 2x. All right, minus 8 times what is 48? 6. Okay, am I done?
Yes.
Look at the numbers inside the parentheses. Are there any other numbers that go into both? Amy.
Wait, 16 goes into 48.
Yeah, it does. Like 16.
16 goes into 48, doesn't it? But we've already done this. I don't want to waste my work. So what goes into 2 and 6? 2. So I could factor out a 2. What does that 2 do to the 8? If I factor out a 2, I'm going to multiply it times that.
Yes.
So really, it's 2 times 8. I'm factoring that out, which is really 16. So, but I'm factoring the 2 out of this. 2 times what is 2x, 2x? Minus 2 times what is 6? 3.
1.
So really, my answer is 16x minus 3.
Yay!
Now, it would have been way easier to start immediately with 16.
That's
If you
what I
find
did.
the biggest, greatest common factor, that's the easiest thing. Remember how to do the upside down birthday cake
Yes.
method? If you had 16 and you had 48, this is a great way to find the greatest common factor. So if you said 8, right? 8 goes in 16 twice. 8 goes in 48 6 times. Ah, wait. 2 goes into both of those. 2 here. So 2 goes into 2 once. 2 goes into 6 3 times. Nothing goes into these two other than 1. So my answer, my greatest common factor is this times this. 8 times 2 is 16. So my greatest common factor is 16. So if I know that, I could have come back here, and instead of doing the long way, I could have done this. I could have just said 16 parenthesis x 1x minus 3. Look at that. This is my 1x minus 3 right there. Okay? Now what I'm not taught, I've been really nice to you so far. I've only given you things where you can only factor out a number. Now we're going to go into variables. We're going to add variables
Yay,
to it.
variables!
Yay, variables! So here. Okay.
Oh no.
So variables. 4. Let's say we had, I don't know,
No.
5x cubed plus 25x squared. So, I want to know, first of all, you do your numbers first. What is, okay, 5 is my greatest common factor with the numbers. What is my greatest common factor with the variables?
X squared. X squared.
X squared. Why not x cubed?
Because X squared doesn't.
All right. Could I take an x cubed out of the x squared?
Yes.
I could take an x cubed out of the x squared?
No. X.
I could get you to say yes to anything, dude. So, I know you thought I said x squared. That's what you're saying. Yeah, that's why you're saying that. But right, I can't take x cubed out of x squared, but I could take an x squared out of x squared, and I could take an x squared out of x cubed. Because think about it. What this really is this. This is what it says. At 5, x times x times x plus 25x times x. I want to know what I can take out of both of them. What do they have in common? These have 5's in common, and they also have 2 x's, right? This one has an extra x, so I'm going to have to leave that one there. But I could take out 2 x's, like that, right? Which is really x squared. So it leaves me 1x plus 5 times what is 25? 5. X times x, x times x. Right? So really, this is how it would be. You would take, this is the rule. With variables, you only have 2 options. What for your greatest common factor? They're actually easier than the numbers. They're way easier than the numbers. Because with the numbers, you have to figure it out. With the variables, you have 2 options. It's either x cubed or it's x squared. It's not x to the 5th. It's not x to the 13th. It's not x to the 1. It's not x to the 4. These are your only 2 options, x cubed or x squared. And you always choose the one with the smallest exponent. Right? So watch. So x squared is the one with the smallest exponent. So that's it. And now look at this. X cubed divided by x squared, all I have to do is subtract the exponents from each other. So all I'm going to have is x, 3 minus 2 is 1. X to the 1 or just x. Plus The x squareds cross out here, so I don't need that. 5 times 5 is 25. Does that make sense? Because x squared divided by x squared is just 1. So 5 times 1 is 5. Okay? So let's try a few, now that you got the idea. So let's say we have 8 x to the 10th minus 32x to the 7th. Okay, first the numbers. What's my greatest common factor in numbers? 8. 8 goes into both of those. And now my variables. I only have 2 options. X to the 10 or x to the 7. It's got to be the one with the smallest exponent, x to the 7. That's it. Now, in here, 8 times 1 is 8, so I don't have to write the 1. But x to the 10 divided by x to the 7, I just subtract. 10 minus 7, it's x to the 3. Minus 8x to the 7 times 4 is 32x to the 7, so 4. If you ever get an x over here, and you're factoring them out, if you have an x on both sides, you didn't go big enough, right? You didn't do it right. Okay? So another one, 6. What? I'm not hearing you guys. What? I'm hearing, I'm sorry, the fan is on my...
What if the smallest exponent was on the first one?
No, but he said if it was on both. The first he had said if it was on the
Okay, I'll do that one. That's a good question. Typically, just so you know, typically the right order of writing a problem in algebra is starting with the highest exponent and working your way down, right? So usually that's how you're going to see it. So you'll have the highest exponent first, right? I don't think, let me just see if there were any weird ones that I gave you. Okay. How about this one? 20x to the 9th plus 30x to the 10th. So I'm doing it backwards, sort of like Sal was saying. What is my greatest common factor between 20 and 30? 10. What is my greatest common factor between x to the 9 and x to the 10? X to the 9, parentheses, 10x to the 9 times what is 20x to the 9? 10 times what is 20? 2, I think you said. Plus, 10 times what is 30? 3. X to the 9, okay, I'm going to divide x to the 10 by x to the 9, so I'm going to subtract 10 minus 9 is x to the 1. I can put the 1 there, or I don't have to. It doesn't matter. Right? Make sense? Fist to 5. You get it? Awesome. All right. So I think that's it. That's all I'm going to do. It's pretty straightforward. You're going to be able to get through this. Seriously, this won't take you very long to do tonight. But it's just I want you to do repetition. I just want you to practice.